They received 7 votes this week. Deep Creek a strong number 2, and unbelievably EC Glass still at number 1 after the Deep Creek Hornets just had their way with EC Glass in the playoffs last year.
Take a look at our area top 10 here, and as we try to take you through this, of course, coming in at number 10, Salem sneaks back in. They're 4-3. They beat First Colonial pretty handily, and they have a winning record now at 4-3. This week they have Princess Anne. If they don't win that one, they're out of the poll.
On the offense, the penalty is declined. We're going to play third down.
Coming in at number 9, Churchland 4-3. They were 8 last week. They got beat by Booker T. Washington 21-10 last week. This week they play Norview. Coming in at number 8, Granby 3-4. Last week they lost to Norview 33-14, so they fall from 6 to 8. They play Lake Taylor this week. Kempsville has been winning and falling all year. Now they win, they lose, and rise. I'll explain that right now. Last week they lost to Tallwood, but they only lost 16-0. Pretty favorable showing for them against a pretty good Tallwood team. This week they have Ocean Lakes, and if they don't blow them out, well,
they'll move down.
They're going to move down again. They've been the roller coaster team. Actually, no, they haven't. They've been the going down. Coming in at number 6, Tallwood. They're 6-1. They have Bayside this week. Indian River at 5. Last week they beat Great Bridge only 7-0. That's why they fall 3-5.
Darrell Walton facing now a 3rd down and 9. Close to their own end zone. Long count. They wanted Indian River to jump. Walton to throw, surprisingly, off the fingertips of Idris Sherrard.
Nice work there. Tried to hit the quick play, but he just couldn't hold on to it. Number 4, Western Branch. Even though they lost to Lake Taylor 22-14, some other teams did poorly and fell. This week, of course, they're here at Indian River. Booker T 5-1. They rise from 4-3 after beating Churchland 21-10. They have Maury this week. Green Run 7-0. Last week they beat Cox 35-3. This week they have Kellum. That should be an absolute blowout. And number 1, Deep Creek 7-0. Number 1 last week. Number 1 since the beginning of the season. They beat Oscar Smith 28-12 last week. And this week they have Norcom.
To kick it away from his own end zone. We've seen the Indian River Braves in the past block so many extra points and punts. They may be going for it here now, but the Braves will take a timeout. With 5:51 to go in the ball game. Let's go down to Merlin Vaughn, and maybe he'll fill us in on that Ronnie Wilson injury.
Guys, a correction on the injury update on James Boyd, the quarterback for Indian River. He has severe cramps in his right thigh, and he's been stretching it out. He's still hobbled and limping quite noticeably. Also, Ronnie Wilson, starting linebacker, has injured his toe. They're icing it down. He won't return. Back up top.
James Boyd sprints up and down the sideline trying to get those leg muscles loose, but I tell you, James Boyd doesn't even look 50% right now with 5:51 to go in the ball game.
I wouldn't call that a sprint.
A 14-point lead for Coach Lou Johnston and the Western Branch Bruins. 4th down and 10 from inside the 10-yard line. Daniel Duche is going to have to kick it away. The Western Branch Bruins at Indian River tonight. You see the 1 loss to Lake Taylor. They have pretty much rolled a tight win against Granby early, and then they rolled over Norcom and Churchland, beat Maury and Wilson, crushed Great Bridge. Oscar Smith next week, a very interesting game, and then, of course, your 23 sports game of the week against Deep Creek to end the season. Deshay gets the kick away. Not his best effort, however. This is going to be a very short kick. Deshay also expected to block there from the Braves. The Braves are going to hit the ball inside the 30 at the 25-yard line. Deshay with pretty good form on that. Just didn't really get a good boot on it. No wind to speak out of here. A 19-yard kick for Daniel Duche. 5:30 now remaining in the ball game. In at quarterback is Antoine Stukes. So probably the best offensive player in the district in James Boyd, if not in Tidewater, is on the sideline. Anthony Kaysen split to the near side. The freshman Stukes wants to throw. Here comes the pressure. He steps up. Stukes running for his life from this Bruin defense and gets outside to stop the clock with 5:10 to go in the ball game. A lot of pressure for a freshman here. We saw him step in and hook up and throw a touchdown pass to James Boyd to win the Norcom game. But he has to get 2 scores here in 5:10.
Mickey, Western Branch allowing an average of less than 2 points per game in the 4th quarter. And part of that, in fact, the reason for that is what you've been talking about all night. They haven't allowed fourth quarter touchdowns but twice all season, and both of those were against teams that they were killing.
Stooks to throw, 2nd down and long. He airs it out for the end zone. This could be picked off. It is picked off by Darren Walton. They have not had an interception in 5 games, and they get 2 tonight against the Indian River Braves. With 5 minutes to go in the ball game.
Stooks is going to be able to set here, but only briefly, never really gets a good set, and I venture to say never gets a good look down the field and throws it right into the hands of Walton.
He can be something to reckon with.
Basically, Mickey, what we were saying before is not so much that they had only allowed 2 times. What that means is, and let's put that in different terms, what that means is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times out of 7 games, Western Branch has shut out their opponent in the 4th quarter.
And they're doing it here tonight. In fact, the defense is pitching the complete shutout right now for Lou Johnston. And I don't think they've had a shutout this season. Have to check on that. The Western Branch Bruins have not thrown a defensive shutout this entire year, and they didn't have a shutout last year. So going on 18 games, the defense hasn't had a shutout, but they're looking good tonight. Stith to the near side. Tripped up by, Lance Bishop.
You know, Stith was running the ball consistently in the first half. Now he's hobbling a little bit. He's limping a little bit on that leg, and I think that's why we haven't seen him carry the ball as often here in the second half.
Slowed this season by the bruised calf. Just as Corey Holly has been shaken up for Indian River. There you see James Boyd trying to work out the leg problems, and they miss him on defense as well. Timeout, Western Branch.
Been there.
Stith has 3 rushes this half and had 16 the first half. So as I said, a considerable reduction in his number of rushes, probably because of that injury.
Could look at the Braves schedule.
And the worst part of their schedule basically is over. Churchland has withered away to not much of a threat. Oscar Smith could pose a problem for them if they continue in this funk that they're in. I don't know if they end the season, they're 6-1, probably 6-2 after tonight. Even if they lose the last 2, they're 6-4.
They still have an outside shot at the playoffs.
Still an outside chance of making the playoffs.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Braves will be better than 6-4.
Yeah, I'm just saying worst case. I'm guessing that you're probably right.
Next week, the Great Bridge Wildcats will hook up with the Deep Creek Hornets. We'll see Mike Kadire at the helm for the Great Bridge Wildcats, and of course Arnie Powell playing quarterback for the Deep Creek Hornets, and the D-Train, Dion Dyer, will try to wreak some havoc on that Wildcat defense. 4:35 to play in the ball game. Inside handoff right up the middle for Western Branch. Working time off the clock now. On that carry, number 24. I believe that's Cook. Yes, indeed it is. Rashad Cook. The Braves are going to take a timeout here. See James Boyd on the sideline. They need the miracle man to get back in there. The man who almost single-handedly brought them back in that Norcom game and caught the touchdown pass to win the game. See, he looks like he's moving pretty good right now, but when he starts to move those feet, he really has a noticeable limp.
There's about 6 rolls of tape on those feet and ankle.
Is there a better athlete in the Southeastern District right now than James Boyd, except for possibly yourself?
Yeah. Did you mean impossible? You know, that's really hard to say.
Your game of the week, 23 Sports, Saturdays at noon, Sunday morning. We call it the Breakfast of Champions show, and indeed it is at 9 o'clock. Mondays at 4:30 in the afternoon, the after work show, and Thursday night, the buffet hour at Richie Babb. Chinese this weekend.
You bring
Thursdays at 8.
You bring it, I'll turn on the TV.
4:24 to go in the ball game. The Bruins facing a 3rd down and 6 now.
But you won't be admitted unless you RSVP.
From the 24-yard line. Ferguson in motion. Walton to run. I don't think he's going to get the 1st down. It's going to be 4th and short, and Daniel Duche is going to have to kick it away again. A flag down. A holding against the Bruins. I think they declined this penalty. Boy, the Bruins have really been penalized tonight. Coming into this ball game, the most penalties they've had in a game has been 4, and they've had that 3 times. Coming in, they're only averaging 2.5 a game. They have
6 penalties,
6.
40 yards.
We have holding on the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Well, Preston can really work that microphone. Preston Harding, referee tonight, along with, I don't believe we've mentioned their names, Tom Van Petten, Les Flora, Norm Phelps, Daryl Parson, and James Cole. I like to call them the A-team when they come rolling in to do the games. They do an outstanding job, this officiating crew.
And they like you to call them that, probably.
4th down and 5, and the Bruins are going to go for it. Unless, oh no, it should be 4th down. They declined the penalty. Good job by Coach Lou Johnston. They're just trying to make the Braves jump. They had a timeout to burn. After the spot, it made it 4th and 2. So Coach Lou Johnston tries to get the aggressive Braves to jump. They didn't even call a play. Then they waste the timeout. They have 2 more remaining. And now they'll kick it away. You got to like that. Good strategy.
I will concur.
Daniel Duche with a 19-yard kick on his last attempt. He was in a bit of a hurry back there in his own end zone. Gets a good kick away here. The Bruins are in outstanding shape.
Western Branch below their average, Mickey, of scoring 23 points per game on the road. But you only have to score more than the other team.
which they've done this season.
Yes, they have.
I think they've outscored their opponents. Let's see, 210 to 101.
Probably the only team to better that in the district is probably Deep Creek.
Or Indian River.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm taking a guess. It'll be one of those 3.
Yeah.
Duche to kick it away. Indian River not going for the block here. Duche with a great kick. Anthony Kaysen loses the handle. Needs to fall on it, but he picks it up. Kaysen now running for his life. He's hammered and he lost the ball. The Bruins say they have it. 1st down, Western Branch. Kaysen never really had a handle, and then he took a punishing hit from the Bruins special teams, who were burned a couple of times just a week ago.
If that's me and I knew how hard I was going to be hit, I'd just give it to him. I'd like to see that. I wonder if we'll be able to see that on a replay, because I thought he was down.
4 turnovers on the night for the Indian River Braves. He dropped the ball, picked it up, got off a couple of steps, and that really allowed those Bruins special teams to drop the hammer on Mr. Kaysen. So with 3:47 to go, the Bruins in great shape. 1st and 10 from the Indian River 34. Up 2 touchdowns are the Bruins, and they give it again to number 24, Rashad Cook. Getting a lot more action here in the 4th quarter, probably due to the injury of Sharon Stith. Rashad Cook here, and look at the Indian River Braves attacking the football, trying to get it away from Rashad Cook. And good coaching there to do that. Rashad Cook, the 5'9", 170 sophomore. So Indian River is going to be attacking the football right now. Western Branch on the year, coming into this ballgame, has just given the ball away 11 times. 7 fumbles in 7 games for the Bruins. Walton with the inside handoff. This is Stith. He's back in the ballgame. And again, Sam Hardy will have to tackle him from behind. Stith wanted a face mask there, but doesn't get the call, but he will get the 1st down. Close to the 20-yard line now for Sharon Stith. When he's at full speed, he's as good as anybody in the area.
9 first downs for Stith. So even though his production has been decreased, at least he's getting key plays executed.
Stith wants an equipment timeout. Preston Harding doesn't buy it. 2:28 to go on a first down from the 22. Stith behind that big offensive line. Controlling the line of scrimmage right now, that offensive line for Coach Lou Johnston. Big number 75, Quentin Battle in there. Made a nice block. Number 50, Harold Humphrey.
It's interesting, Mickey, and looking at total points, I've been doing my math again. And I'll tell you all about it after this play.
First down for Western Branch. They can get another first down. The ball's at the 11. This is Stith cutting back against the grain, going in. Touchdown, Sharon Stith. The last 2 seasons, the home team has won the game between Indian River and Western Branch, and it looks like the visitors are going to get the win tonight. Stith watching cutback here.
Nice run. He may not be 100%, but he's awfully close to it. Even at that, he's able to make cutbacks and get into the end zone to make the score 20-0. Now, this is interesting. We were talking about Western Branch outscoring their opponents as the extra point attempt is good by a score of 210-101, which is a difference of 109 points. Indian River outscoring its opponents 179-68, which is a difference of 111. So basically, these two teams pretty even in outscoring their opponents, but as they become opponents of one another, Western Branch considerably outscoring Indian River 21-0.
Sharon Stith gets his 11th and 12th touchdown carry of the season with 2 tonight. And there he is. He's had multiple touchdowns in 5 games now, 3 against Churchland, 2 against Indian River, Wilson, Norcom, and Maury. Breaks away from 1 tackle right there initially, and then goes in easily for the touchdown.
Look of relief in that particular run right there. Just be glad to get off of that leg.
Coach Bob Parker knows he's in big trouble now with 1:58 to go in the ballgame, down 3 touchdowns. I wouldn't expect to see Boyd back in. We'll get to that scoring summary right after the kickoff. Daniel Duche to kick it away deep at the 5-yard line will be Corey Holly. The Bruins make the trip down the interstate to Indian River. They're going to come away with a victory here tonight. Loose ball, Indian River trying some misdirection here now. Not going to work.
Indian River trying misdirection there, Mickey, much to the surprise of the guy that ended up with the ball.
Jesse Grant.
He ends up with the ball. He's like, what am I going to do with this? Take a look at that last scoring drive for Western Branch to make it 21-0. Took 2 minutes, 1 second, 4 plays. 3 of those plays by Stith to go 34 yards. That's not a bad average. The keys were the Kaysen fumble and then Stith's 11-yard touchdown nightmare.
The Halloween theme in effect for Smacky Stats tonight. Listen in. Coaching staff wants to know who called that play, the little misdirection down there on the kickoff. James Boyd is going to come back in the ballgame with 1:27 to go. Down 3 touchdowns. Let's hope he doesn't get injured here because the Braves are probably going to make the playoffs. Almost stopped for a safety, intended for Kaysen, overthrown. Could have been picked off by Tao, but he elected to go for the hit. Let's make that Jason Parker. You see Boyd get away here, elude 1 defender and a safety. Parker really didn't know what he wanted to do there. He wanted to go for the hit or the interception. 2nd down and 10 from their own 10-yard line. The Indian River Braves down 3 touchdowns to the Bruins and 1:15 to go. It's time to start tabulating those MVP votes.
Oh, boy.
Boyd. This one to Brandon Lawrence, his 2nd catch. Bryant Clemens on the coverage, and there's a little good sportsmanship from both men there. James Boyd, plenty of time to throw here. Doesn't have to move around a lot, which is a good thing because the legs are bothering him. Lawrence goes down and makes the nice grab. Smacky Stats working on those stats and MVP votes. Richie Babb has cast his vote already. We'll get that after the next play and hear the reason. Boyd just throwing that one away on 1st and 10 from the 20. And tell us why you have selected that man as your MVP.
Well, Darrell Walton has basically done it all. Stitt has had some nice runs tonight, but a lot of Western Branch's offensive success, as we said, has been their execution, and a lot of that is left up to the quarterback. Darrell Walton has his rhythm, and the rhythm of the quarterback often is reflected in how the team executes, and he's been a great field leader tonight. I almost have an idea to pick a defensive player of the game too, really, but I don't think I will. But the defense has played very well.
Yes, they have. They have contained this Indian River offense and done an outstanding job. The defensive backfield has had success against James Boyd. This complete to David Selby. Guys like Bryant Clemens and Malik Cook, Lorenzo Ferguson and Darren Walton, who had an interception. I think I might go for Western Branch with those guys. Robert Holly, Clayton Porter. 28 seconds to go. I'm going to go with the Western Branch backfield as well as Darrell Walton.
Are you?
The defensive backfield.
Oh.
Because they've contained the leading passer in Tidewater tonight. And he tries to air it out one more time. Boyd under pressure. Going for Selby. Just can't quite get the handle on it. It's going to be 4th down.
The 23 sports team not afraid to go out on a limb. Let's just pick everybody.
I'm going to go with just the defensive backfield.
The quarterback, the defensive backfield, the kid on the bench over there. Let's not leave him out.
How about the coaching staff?
Oh, yeah, got to include them.
They came up with a good game plan tonight.
Well, that's right, because you have to have something to execute.
Yeah.
So.
Can't just draw plays in the dirt out there. Or you can.
Well, you can, especially on kickoffs.
And we've heard some teams in the Southeastern District are doing that this year.
Yes.
It's an ugly rumor. Western Branch is going to go to 7-1 for Coach Lou Johnston. With 2 big games left, of course, the biggest against the Deep Creek Hornets.
You know, generally we pick a player of the game for the defensive team, or for the losing team also.
Selby, complete, but a big hit from Lorenzo Ferguson. I think I'm going to pick Lorenzo Ferguson as defensive standout Western Branch. I'm not going to go with the backfield.
I'll go for that.
Okay, I'll go for Lorenzo Ferguson, defensive back.
I'm just kidding. I mean, the backfield did play well.
But we'll signal out Lorenzo Ferguson.
Okay.
I'll
go for that.
Okay.
I'll go for
How about Indian River?
So players of the game for Western Branch and Darrell Walton and Ferguson. And so for Indian River,
I'm going to have to go with any game that Indian River plays. The most valuable player on the field is probably James Boyd.
Probably. I would have.
So I'm going to vote for James Boyd.
I would almost go with Sam Hardy.
Sam Hardy would be a good pick. He's done it on both sides of the ball, which I know you like when they do great plays on offense and defense. Merlin Vaughn over on the Western Branch coaching staff helping with the game plan.
Hey, start winning, Merlin will go to your sideline in a minute. All of a sudden, he's a Braves fan now.
0.1 seconds remain in the ball game. Indian River will probably take one more shot at the end zone. But if you're Coach Lou Johnston, you have to like your odds here. Up 3 touchdowns.
With 1/10 of a second.
Boyd to throw it for Kaysen. And it's picked off by my MVP.
Yeah,
Lorenzo
your
Ferguson.
Player of the game. Yeah.
Yes.
Only because I goaded you into making a choice. And the Western Branch people are excited.
And they should be, as they defeat a very solid Indian River team out here tonight rather easily. They do it defensively by throwing the shutout, their first one in 2 years, and the offense scores 21 points, and defensive MVP Lorenzo Ferguson with the pick at the end of the game. They finished the game with 3 interceptions, and we mentioned they did not have one in the 5 previous games. 3 interceptions, the most they've had this season. The offense, however, comes in against a good Indian River defense, who you said was ranked higher in defense, and indeed they were, and they scored 21 points for Coach Lou Johnston.
That's right. And their defense acted like they're the #1 defense.
Merlin Vaughn's going to hustle up and try to catch Coach Lou Johnston down there. I'm sure he is very pleased with the way his team's played tonight. Let's go down to Merlin Vaughn with Coach Lou Johnston.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with a thoroughly soaked Coach Lou Johnston. Congratulations on this game.
I love it. Beautiful. Come here. Come here.
And we're joined by the coach's wife
Yes.
and the family. Excellent game. We talked in the first half about your unbalanced line. Now talk about that and how it worked tonight.
Well, they adjusted. I knew coming out the second half we were going to have to fight to win. The defense was the difference. Shut up. Shut up. And that's what we wanted, and we got it.
How much? Oh. You have to be proud of the guys rebounding from last week's loss to Lake Taylor.
It was probably the best thing that happened. You know, you never like to lose, but we learned something from it. We came to play tonight. Great week of practice.
You showed a lot of character tonight.
We talked about number 30, Tony Turner. We wear that sticker on the back of the helmet. And we said that's what we needed. 3-0, just like we started the season. That's what we're shooting for now.
Here with the victorious 3-0 Western Branch Bruins. Back upstairs.
We opened up the pregame show talking to Coach Lou Johnston about the defense, and they pitched the shutout tonight against the Indian River Braves.
All right, somebody's going to have to go in and get Merlin out of there.
He's in trouble. He's on his own.
We need
everybody wants to be interviewed by Merlin.
Yeah. I didn't even see him then. I think maybe he had been stomped.
If Merlin ever decides to leave 23 Sports, I really believe that he can get a job on the World Wrestling Federation.
Coach Johnston really quite happy down there. But you know, I hate to say this, not to rain on anyone's parade, they still have a few games to play.
They do have
to play. And a very tough Division V playoff coming up. They really still need to win their remaining games in order to make that Division V playoff, because in there people like Deep Creek with no losses, people like Phoebus, I believe, with 1 loss. Hampton has 1 loss, although Hampton's Division VI, aren't they?
However, no, they're 5.
Oh, are they?
However, take a look at this interception. Western Branch holds their own destiny this year. If they beat Deep Creek, they can make it. Here's the second interception where Stukes had to come into quarterback. He had time to throw it, airs it out for the end zone, and making a nice adjustment on the ball right here is number 5, Darren Walton, the leading receiver in Tidewater. There he gets the interception on defense. But we're talking about Western Branch and making the playoffs for the first time. If they win their last 2 games, they know they're going to go to the playoffs. They don't have to wait for somebody else to do something to help them out.
Well, except that, well, that's true. But Oscar Smith is not a team they can look past like they did with Lake Taylor.
You are correct.
Deep Creek, I mean, especially, you know, they go into the Lake Taylor game favored with a big Indian River game coming up. Now they're going into the Oscar Smith game favored with a big Deep Creek game coming up. They have to be careful of that, and, Mickey, they only have to beat Deep Creek.
That's all.
That's it. But I think they can do it. I'm not trying to throw, you know, disparaging remarks at them. I'm just trying to say that they probably, I hope they're not celebrating too much too early. But they have a lot to celebrate. No doubt a great performance tonight from the Western Branch Bruins.
A great win, a 21-0 win against one of the top teams in Tidewater in the Indian River Braves. You got to remember that. They are a good football team. Take a look at the final Smacky stats here.
Well, you know the score, 21-0, 165 yards rushing for Western Branch, 96 yards rushing for Indian River. And if you compare that to, actually that's above their average for the last 2 games, so they